In this next article from the New York Post, police reveal video of suicide that sparked Minneapolis loots and rioting. There's so many riots and stuff, it's hard to cover all these riots, but this Democrat race riot was caused by fake news because a suspect had killed someone, and they went later and killed themselves. They committed suicide. But the Black Looter Mob, Black Looter Mob knows that they will get millions of dollars in donations if they make up scams about police shootings. These people are liars. They're detestable cultural Marxist scum. If you're unfamiliar with cultural Marxism, it's a detestable philosophy that came from after World War II. They said that it wasn't Marxism that failed. It was the culture that failed. So the communists in China did the cultural de-evolution, and they destroyed the culture in China, and they murdered about 60 million people out in the country. And in the USSR at the same time, it was something similar, not exactly because they'd already wiped out much of the culture, but the pattern was the same. It's socialist scum from the city who believe that the capitalists are holding them down. And in World War II and after World War II, the rural areas were capitalist and the cities were socialist, and the people in the cities blamed the capitalists for holding them down, and the capitalists were in the country. So they marched through the countryside and they killed over 100 million people to wipe out the culture. This is cultural Marxism. This is why it is a detestable philosophy. I'm not trying to spew hate up here. I am not. I am a loving person. I want to program computers, dude. I want to write books. I have another channel, Cooking with Kale. I do STEM tutorials. Like, I don't want to do, I'm having fun here. I don't want to do this. I want to program computers. I want to run my business. But I can't because there's so much fucking fake news. And these black looter mobs are causing so much death, destruction, burning our cities down because they hate Donald Trump. That's what all this is about. It's all about Donald Trump. If it really was about saving black lives, they would be focusing on stopping the hood Democrats from murdering almost 10,000 black people in the United States per year. Police kill less than 1,000 people in total. Vast majority of them are armed and pose a significant threat to the public. No police officer, almost no police. There's going to be always some crazy lunatic. There's always a bad apple in every group. There's very few in the police department. Nobody wants to shoot people. Nobody wants to go home with that on their conscience, dude. But if you step to these hood Democrats, these violent African Americans in the hood who vote for the party that enslaved them and started the KKK just because they think they're good people and they never really bothered to do any research. Most people don't know Democrats started the KKK. They opposed women's suffrage. Yeah, they owned slaves, dude. They opposed women's suffrage. They were horrible white supremacists. They passed the 1994 crime bill that created the prison industrial complex. Mr. Magoo, Joe Magoo Biden is the author of the 1994 crime bill that that is causing all of the extra brutality from these gangs in the city. The police aren't causing the brutality. That's insane. There's no truth to that at all. It's the violent hood Democrats, these gangbangers up in the city. They sell drugs. They gangbang. They beat people. They do home invasion robberies. They steal cars. This is the most dangerous group of people in America, and that's who they're saying. Oh, it's all the police's fault. You gotta let us riot and loot and do whatever the fuck we want. So there is. He killed himself. And then the lying black looter mob said that a cop killed him because they get millions in dollars from scam donations that they get off of Facebook. I think that the ivory tower liberal journalist scum pieces of shit and Facebook and that has been any corporation that has profited off of black looter mob donations, such as Any Blue, the Democrat-run organization that was one of the main fundraising outlets for Black Looter Mob, the hashtag BLM movement, they need to pay for the damages for the riots. They need to pay for the deaths. They need to compensate the families, the victims, for all of the death that they caused, because they are scamming us. Change.org, scamming us. MoveOn.org, that Soros-funded site, scamming us. Ivory Tower liberals control which posts come up. They determine which of these petitions come on the front page, dude. There's no organicness about this. They are people who are running these social media companies who are controlling our entire political system. And they say, oh, we have to because it's the far right. The far right is coming. Yeah. Like Nazis were actually, they were the same thing as conservative Republicans, right? Wrong. No, Nazis were fascist. The women's suffrage movement birthed fascism. The fascists, they were pushing for voting rights for women, to the reduction of the voting age down to 18, and for a minimum wage. That's what they wanted. That's why they got power. Once they got power, they couldn't get everything that they wanted, so they went with authoritarianism. So they voted Hitler in by a landslide in what they thought was a freedom movement, because the other people wouldn't give them what they wanted. So they had to go with the strong authoritarian leader who was going to do the hard thing that the other people did not want to do. And then they proceeded to commit genocide and kill millions of people, proceeding into hundreds of millions of people in the preceding 80 years after that. In follow-up war, we had the Korean War, the Vietnam War, and that also caused a number of other wars. So this whole Marxism, communism thing is a detestable belief, because the only way that you can keep it going is by killing people to force them to give you their stuff, because nobody wants to go and work all day and then give their stuff away to people like Black Looter Mob. Joe Magoo Biden, that little skis bag piece of shit motherfucker, wants to give his platform, he wants to give $15,000 home loans to first-time minority homeowners. He wants to give business loans to minorities, and he wants to make the Federal Reserve talk about race. That's what he wants to do. And it's because they don't care about the majority of Americans, because they can pander to minority groups, because they know the white people have such a low birth rate that they're just going to get replaced by Latinos, because the Democrats just in the sanctuary states like California and the sanctuary cities won't enforce their immigration laws, and they push for the maximum amount of immigrants in the country. And so they know the Latinos are just, even though U.S. Latinos birth rates are way under replacement, the people who are, the reason why the Latino population is growing is only because of immigration. So you as a Latino in the U.S., this doesn't help you. It doesn't help you to bring in a whole bunch of more Latinos from outside of the country that are pushing the wages down, because it makes Latinos a permanent underclass and prevents them from being able to live the American dream. They say it's far right if you don't believe in unrestricted immigration and enforcing illegal immigration laws. No, they say this isn't far right. It's not. It's not racist. No, because we're trying to say that we want the Latinos to become a part of our family, but we can't do this when you keep packing in more immigrants, because they're a permanent underclass and they can't become part of the rest of America because they're in with the rest of the immigrants who are getting their wages depressed. So everything that these Democrats have been telling you is a lie. They're literally trying to replace your family with immigrants. And they've almost swapped out 25% of the United States population by now. They've actually replaced almost 20% of the United States population with immigrants. It's not even a joke. I've already covered this a bunch on the show. If you're new, check out prior episodes. So what else happened to this Minneapolis riot? I couldn't find too many videos. Here's a fallout. Here's what somebody said
And
about it.
let's be straight and upfront. What happened here last night is reflective of decades-old bad, inept leadership in this town, in this country, in this state. Leadership at the governor's level, leadership at the county level, leadership at the city council level. It's bad leadership all the way around. At the congressional level, that's what we see here, what happens when you have bad leadership. We want to hold them accountable. Now, let's understand. I know the hurt and pain that people are feeling. I know that there's some confusion going on here. But I'm here to add clarity. In North Minneapolis, Target has been just so supportive of the black community and other communities of color and other poor communities. They deserve better.
White is a color too. I am a person of color. Definitely see colors here.
Than this. You deserve better.
Black means devoid of color. It's physics. Black, nothing. White, mix of all the colors.
Better than this. Minneapolis deserves better than this. And I'm here to give you better. We spent part of the evening talking to some of the law enforcement officers. We see the armored vehicles that's going to be here tonight for the 8 o'clock curfew, keeping order here. But once again, I feel sorry for the citizen of this city who has to go through this. Once again, whenever you let a group of rioters burn down a police station, you set the atmosphere for the stuff we're seeing right now. So,
not just here in the United States. You'll also see here in a little bit, there's race riots going on all around the world right now. We set a very bad precedence. There are a lot of people dying right now all around the world because of the precedents that the black looter mob has caused with their venomous hate of police officers, of Donald Trump and Trump supporters. That's what this is all about. They are trying to influence the 2020 election. It is not about anything else. It is about taking out Donald Trump because the racist Republicans from the poor rural states are holding down the African Americans in the hood. Right. These quote unquote racist Republicans who don't live in your city. Your city is controlled by Democrats. The people who won't hire you are white feminists. White feminism is a racist form of feminism where they put white women's issues above everyone else's. They're never going to let you rise above the pyramid above them, dude. Never will it happen. You are always going to be permanently underneath them and to be used as a pawn in so that the white women can make more money. And currently women in the United States own almost 2/3 of the wealth in the United States. They control 85% of consumer spending. They buy 92% of new homes, about 2/3 of the cars. They buy 92% of food. No, 93% of food, 92% of vacations. So if you can't afford a fancy vacation, you're never going to get a date on Tinder because you don't got those fancy vacation pics. I support these black people. I love black conservatives. I absolutely feel great when I come in contact with these people and I can see not all of these people are like hood Democrats. Hood Democrats are pretty detestable, but these black conservatives are cool. They're smart. They do not act like these hood Democrats at all, and we really appreciate that. We want to join forces with these people. Do not judge by a man by the color of their skin. The color of your skin is no different than the color of your clothes. You cannot tell because someone wears cool clothes whether or not they're a good person. In fact, chances are, if they're wearing really cool clothes and they make you feel like crap, like you're not good enough to be with them or hang out with them all the time, or not all the time, if they make you feel like they're better than you, chances are they're a narcissist. That's not a good person, but they would like you to think that. And so this is the reason why you should never judge someone by their skin color. Here we can see, what was this? I think this was the only thing that I could see. Here's a, I tried to look for the riot footage, but I couldn't.
That all to Nick Litton 8th, where a black man who had just killed somebody shot himself. The crowd then presumed that the cops had killed him. The video came out that he had in fact killed himself. However, the civil unrest turned outwards. I then made a video that said, be careful of the way the white media outlets are going to spin this. They're going to say that people are looting because they want things for free. They're going to say they're burning things down because they want to take it out in the city. Lo and behold, they forgot about Jacob Blake. They forgot about...
Oh, right. The alleged rapist, Jacob Blake. The one that we just went over at the beginning of the show. The one that the Jacob Blake's ex-girlfriend had called the police because he wasn't allowed to be there and he had stolen her keys. And the police showed up and Jacob Blake had a knife and they had to taser him. And they didn't show you that in the clip that caused the Democrat race riots. They only showed you a short little clip from the other side of the car that doesn't show you what happened in the lead up to it. And just like a Hollywood movie, when you take clips out of context, you can spin the narrative and you can make it turn completely different. Because when you omit details, it changes the story. And these people know that they can get millions of dollars in donations from scam charities or from scam donation fundraisers from GoFundMe. I think that GoFundMe needs to refund every single penny that they made from these people, and they need to shut down every single one of these scam donations, such as the one where the brother of the methed out black dude that died of the fentanyl overdose, George Floyd, the scumbag piece of shit that did the home invasion robberies, the guy that held a mother and her child hostage in a home invasion robbery, terrorized them, and then he died of the fentanyl overdose. And then they told you that it was the white cop, Derek Chauvin, that killed him. And as it turns out, none of it was true. It was all fake. George Floyd died of a heart attack in the ambulance after an EMT checked his pulse after Officer Chauvin got up. It is not possible that Officer Chauvin killed him if he was still alive in the ambulance.
Kyle Rittenhouse, and seemingly they forgot about George Floyd. They also forgot about their own intrinsic...
Yeah, Kyle Rittenhouse, the guy that was getting attacked by... The people who Kyle Rittenhouse killed were not good people. One of them had raped a 5-year-old. Another one had a rap sheet that had... he was a woman beater. He had been arrested. He had convictions for beating women on 3 different occasions and a number of other different violent offenses. And Kyle Rittenhouse had been hit with a skateboard, had rocks thrown at him. The guy that got his arm blown off, he had a gun in his hand and he was a felon. He wasn't allowed to be in possession of a firearm. But, when you only see the clip and you only see something taken out of context, yeah, it looks like that. Like when you look at the police killing numbers and you see that there's not the same percentage of African Americans in there that are in the general public. You're like, okay, the white cops are hunting down these unarmed black people and killing them. Only that's not true. African Americans kill almost 10,000 people per year, most of them black, and they commit 5 to 10 times as much violence. So statistically speaking, when you actually balance those factors in, police are half as likely to kill black people when you go by the number of police interactions with the group. They're half as likely to kill black people as they are white people. Nobody wants to kill... cops don't want to kill people, dude. That's a myth. They do it as a last resort, or it's an accident. 163,000 people die in the United States from accidents alone. There are a massive number of gun deaths. When you have a lot of interactions with the police, X% of those interactions are going to turn out to be an accident. And so this is why we need to legalize drugs so that we can reduce the number of police interactions, and then we won't have these problems. or we'll have a lot fewer of them. Actually, those problems still do exist if you look at rich countries, most rich countries have about the same number of police shootings as the United States when you scale everything for the population, except for the countries that don't have very many guns.